Can't beat homemade lattes. So anyway, welcome to the Varied Life. My name is Steve. I am retired here in Korea. For those of you who don't know, the wife and I, we sold everything in the United States: house, car, guns, ammo, lots of guns, lots and lots of ammo, and various other sundries, and even the kitchen junk drawer. All of it went. We came to Korea with a couple of suitcases, and yeah, so we're retired here in Korea. We purposely found an apartment that is close to Camp Humphreys, which is the largest U.S. military base overseas in the world. So it's got something like 35,000 some soldiers and contractors, and I mean, it is really huge. And for those of you who don't know, they used to have a huge contingent of military in Seoul, and then everybody moved south. So, and a number of bases they kind of consolidated. And so Camp Humphreys has become the place to be. So when we ended up scouting places to live, there's a couple of apartment complexes that we looked at, and we wanted to be close to Humphreys because we figured if we ever wanted to leave for whatever reason, we could always rent out our apartment, and it's a good rental activity. But that's far aside from what we're talking about today. Today is the MWR Thanksgiving Meal. Taste is subjective, and we probably won't go next year. It's now there is some context that needs to come into play. Recently, I posted some videos, and a number of other people did, showing how we got a lot of snowfall. We didn't get any snow until the last day or two, yesterday and today, and Seoul ended up getting the worst snow that they've had in November in the last 117 years. So yeah, they got like 20, 30 centimeters, whatever that comes out to, I don't know. It was a lot of snow, and it reminds me of being in Colorado. The reason being is that in Colorado, even though it snows every single year, every time it gets to where it snows, it's like people forgot how to drive in it, and so a lot of accidents, people driving too fast, and yeah, there's been a bunch of accidents, which I don't really understand. You know, if slippery, icy, slushy, snowy. Yeah, let's pedal to the metal. And then, oops, oh, there's the red light. I'm going to slam on my brakes. It just doesn't really make a lot of sense. It seems like every year in years past, when I was in Korea, we saw the exact same thing. Snow shows up, and it's like this weird anomaly that people don't know how to drive in snow, and it takes them a while to figure it out. And unfortunately, I don't know. People have short attention spans, I guess. Long-term memory isn't really working really well. But same thing happened in Colorado. You would be amazed at the first snowstorm where the roads get bad and the number of vehicles off on the side of the road in ditches and upside down is just, you see people driving 70, 80 miles an hour going down a road, and there's a sharp turn, and it's in an area that is known for snow and ice and wind, which means more ice, and people just slide off the road, and it happens every single year. One time I was talking with a person, and he ended up sliding off, not on that section, but on a different road, multiple times within the same year. And it's like, yeah, that's kind of, because he was telling me about the damage it had to his truck and the whole 9 yards. And it's like, maybe you should slow down. But, whatever. But with this Thanksgiving meal, it was kind of interesting. And the snow brought about some problems because they opened up late. So our experience on what we had, we were probably one of the first 25 or 30 people into the MWR Thanksgiving buffet, and I think that had probably a little bit to do with what happened and the quality of the food and what we experienced. But I just want to kind of go over and share our thoughts. And I know taste is subjective. What I find is like, meh, other people like, hey, I love this. And that's totally okay. It's just comes down to personal preference. Should be noted that each ticket for the MWR Thanksgiving buffet was $40 a pop. So that's $80 for me and the wife. Let's take a look and I'll show you what they ended up having. Here is the MWRs at the Morning Comm Center, which was really nice. The staff were great. Everything, the waiters, the waitresses, and all the people there, they were great. Food, let's see what they ended up having. Let's make this a little bit bigger so we can see what's going on. Applewood smoked center cut bacon. Me and the wife, we don't do the pork thing. Breakfast sausages, chicken and pork. Seasoned home fries, that was okay. Biscuits and gravy, toast and jam, it's kind of hard to screw up toast and jam. Assorted pastries, didn't really see a lot of assorted pastries. I'm in that breakfast section. It was like, they had eggs, omelets to order, which your choice of meat, which they didn't. They had some pork, and like bacon, and then ham. And then vegetables and cheeses. They didn't have any cheeses. I had to go back to the salad bar to get the cheese to put on my omelet, which wasn't really an omelet. The interesting thing is eggs to order. Ended up getting an omelet. They had like mushrooms, tasted like they came out of a can, just big number 10 can. But there it was. They had diced onions. They had like bell peppers and assorted peppers chopped up as the vegetables. There was no green in the vegetables there. So anyway, when the chef made my omelet, which was right in front of you on a little gas stove, which was kind of cool, there was a lot of oil in my in my omelet. And the person before me had eggs, over easy eggs, and there was a ton of oil on that. And so they got their eggs first, and the guy said, whoa, trying to put it on his plate. He's, no, you got to pour that oil out because it was swimming in oil. So the chef kind of drained as much oil and then put it on the plate, and it was still a lot of oil. It was like, oh. So when he did mine, I had to ask him, hey, can you drain the oil off of there? And there was so much oil that when you flip the omelet over and cook it so it's supposed to be together, kind of like all the stuff is inside, you flip it and then you flip it and whatever. Couldn't flip it because there was too much oil. It was too slippery, and it wouldn't hold and fold over. That's how much oil there was. So it was kind of just like an open-faced, omelet quesadilla. So you had the egg and all the stuff that was there, and it kept flapping open. And so I had to go back to the salad bar, put some cheese on there, and even I tried to, when I got back to my table, flipping it over, it never. So it was just kind of like I just kind of cut it all up and ate it that way. So that wasn't too bad. Belgian waffle bar, which was down at the other end, which is first you had one part on the right side. So you get your plate, and then there's salad, and then the salad bar, and then you had eggs, and then, which is kind of weird, and then you had some other breakfast bar stuff. And then you had some space, and then they had the big beef thing, and they're cutting it, it's under the French fry lamp. And then further down, they had the more traditional Thanksgiving meal type stuff. So the turkey, the mashed potatoes, the gravy, the corn, other stuff that we'll look at here. And then they had, at the other end, close to the dessert bar, they had the waffles. And with all the toppings, and I'm kind of like, breakfast is over there or here, or I don't know. The organization was a little, it didn't make sense to me. And other people were mentioning that too. It's like, hey, did you know they got waffles down there? And that's how I found out that they had the waffles, was down by the dessert section. Let me kind of go through some stuff. Soup, didn't try any soup because it just honestly didn't appeal. Salad, it's kind of hard to screw up salad. Cracker platter, cheese and crackers, assorted California rolls, they had some of those, seemed okay. Cranberry dipped feta, whipped feta dip and bread. Fresh fruit platter, there was fruit there. It was nothing to write home about. Green bean casserole, I don't like green beans, so I didn't even get that. The corn with the white truffle butter and Parmesan, I was excited. But as soon as I tasted the corn, it was kind of tepid. It wasn't warm. And with a number of things, the food wasn't warm enough. And I think the fact was because of the weather, they got there late. And then they opened up late. And if you know anything about buffets, you have the container of food, and it sits on a stand, and then you have the heat source underneath, and it's supposed to heat up and then keep the food hot. Well, because they were running late, the food wasn't hot, and so if you kind of grab stuff around the sides or whatever, it was kind of tepid. And I learned my lesson and go back and dig in the middle to try to get some. But yeah, it wasn't. A lot of this could have been improved if maybe we had showed up an hour later. That could have been it. The corn with the white truffle butter and parmesan, I was excited about that, except the corn tasted like it came out of a can. And it wasn't, could have been cooked a little bit more. It was like, candied yams, it was okay. Sage stuffing was okay. Mashed potatoes and actually it was brown turkey gravy, which was really good. The roasted chestnut winter squash risotto, so-so. I've had a lot better. The wild mushroom and toasted pine nut couscous, I was kind of excited about that. But then in the scoop of couscous that I had well-cooked couscous. And then in that same scoop, I had parts that weren't cooked. It was kind of clumped together. And so it was kind of like, and it wasn't hot or warm. It was kind of warm-ish. So that kind of took away. Mac and cheese, I looked at that. I didn't do that. The turkey was good. Cranberry sauce was okay. Slow roasted pork. Again, we don't do the pork thing. We don't do shrimp. The dinner rolls were okay. They were kind of dense. Then they had these other, I guess you would call them biscuits, but it looked like hardtack, and they were hard. It was, and they were doughy in the middle, and you take one bite and it's like, ooh, yeah, this isn't. I didn't go back and try another one. The wife actually got it, and we're banging it on the table, and it was just super hard. But then when you finally get into it, it was doughy in the middle. It was like right on the verge of being cooked, but could have been cooked more. And you have to realize that all of this stuff isn't cooked there, to my knowledge. Maybe it is. If it is, that kind of makes me wonder. But the way the condition of the food was, I'm thinking that it was made off-site and then brought on post, and then they warmed it up and put it out, and there it was. I don't think it was made on site, because if it was, the food would have been hot, and it wasn't. The steamship round beef, which the peppercorn and herb crusted bit, the spices were there, but the beef was cold. It was cold, and the pieces that we had were a little rough compared to stuff that we've had in the past. Again, we don't do the ham. The best part was the dessert. The triple chocolate cake, which was kind of like that thin, and then you get this little sliver of that, little square. Assorted pies, pumpkin pie was it was all right. Mousse, the pumpkin spice cake with maple cream cheese frosting and pecans. That was actually, I think, the best part there was that. And then we had the coffee, tea, and stuff like that. I had coffee, wife had tea. But when we got there, you go up, and like I said, we were like in the first 25 people, maybe 30 people to get there. And the coffee was not hot. It was like maybe warm-ish, and it was a little bitter. So it was like, okay, well, honestly, it tasted like Folgers. And if you know what Folgers tastes like when it's not hot and it's a little bitter, yeah, it's what it tasted like. That's the first thing that rung into my mind was some old Folgers coffee. So eventually the wife brought it up because her hot water for her tea wasn't hot either. The hot water wasn't even hot. So she brought it up, and they made some new coffee and some new tea. And they apologized. Again, the staff were awesome. But even then, the brand new coffee, which looked better than the previous coffee, it still needed cream and sugar. And even then, I didn't finish even half the coffee or even a third of it. It was just like, yeah. And then I went to the bar to see if they made coffee or lattes or whatever. Of course, all they did was alcohol. And it's like, well, I'm driving. I'm not going to do that. So, yeah, it was, so you're looking at the price of $41 per person. I want to say it was 40. Why it says 41, I don't know. additional walk-in fee per person. So add on another, $46 per person. Wow, we were not impressed. And I think a lot of that had to do with the fact that they were late because of the weather and the snow. They weren't able to get there, do their normal prep, get the heat trays heated up properly, and have the hot food. I think that really took away from a lot of that, and especially with that, with the steamship round of beef. Even though it was under the heat French fry lamp type thing that they had going there, what we got was just it was really cold. You could tell that it wasn't prepared on site. The meat cut wasn't as good as what I'd experienced being in the military and going to a Thanksgiving meal in a dining facility where they go all out for Thanksgiving and Christmas. I was just really, we weren't really impressed at all. And for, say $80 for both of us, we could go to a Korean restaurant and we could get some Hanu beef. We could get some Korean barbecue where you cook the food right in front of you. The table is littered and filled with, appetizers, plates, and all types of different little plates, containers of stuff. It was just, the turkey was good. Turkey was good. That was good. The gravy was good, mashed potatoes and gravy. But all of this other stuff was it just wasn't there. And I was just really, it left me wanting, to put it nicely. It was just, but I think a lot of it had to do with the fact that they were running late. They couldn't heat up the food. And so the first bunch of people that got the food, you're getting cold food. And, the wife got her plate and I was at the table and she brought hers. And it's like, yeah, this food's kind of cold. So when I went to go get my food, it ended up that, when I got my mashed potatoes, I went into the very center of the buffet container food thing and got my mashed potatoes, and it was warmer on the inside than it was on the outside. So, yeah, you could tell that the food hadn't been heated properly and it was brought in and it just they were just running late. But even then, it just didn't flip our lid. And the other question was that because of the snowstorms and things like that, a number of people couldn't make it to the event. And so people are wondering about, well, hey, we got snowed in, traffic's bad, accidents, we're not going to drive. And, because some people live, a good distance away. And so people have been asking about refunds. And I couldn't find anything on the MWR site for refunds, except for prior events like this one in 2020. Let's take a look at this. So in this one in 2020, no walk-ins allowed. Of course, that's a number of years ago. Kind of the same thing. And there, the cost was $28 for adults. So now it's $40. And, that's like, 4 years? It's 2024. 4 years, it's gone up, $10, $12. That's a little steep. And then cancellations, it said for a refund must be confirmed 48 hours in advance from the date of the event. And this isn't even included on the event for, the one that we went to today. So yeah, there's no mention of refunds or anything like that, which is, I think that's kind of problematic. You should have something there, because if something does happen and you can't go, there should be a refund policy posted on this. That's clear, to make just be open and honest about everything. So yeah, Thanksgiving was okay. I mean, it's, the wife and I, we had a good time, and we got us out of the house and stuff like that. And now we're home and we're getting some real lattes and real espresso action going. Which I have become a coffee snob. And I'm going to blame Korea for that. During my whole time in the military, I was a Folgers fiend. Go to the field. I had my coffee pot and the whole 9 yards and Folgers, and because that's what everybody drank was back in the day was Folgers. And then fast forward to coming to Korea and then end up coffee shops, tons of coffee shops in Korea, like an insane amount. And these people know how to do coffee. I'm talking freshly roasted beans. We're talking espressos. We're talking lattes. They've got the roasting date on the beans and stuff. So yeah, coffee's a big thing here. Not saying that I haven't had bad coffee in Korea, which I have, but more often than not, I've had way better coffee here in Korea than I have in the United States. So Korea turned me into kind of a coffee snob. I ended up getting my own espresso maker. So there's that. I got a Breville. And so I do my own espressos. I weigh the beans and, grind them and, disperse them and get the clumps out. And then I time it and measure it and all of that stuff. And, this is under extracted and this is a little bit over and we're not getting enough yield. We're not hitting that 40 gram, Yeah, I do that stuff now. And I've pretty much locked down what I like and everybody loves it. So when I go to places that have bad coffee, I can immediately tell. Unfortunately, it kind of ruined it for me. But yeah, I'm kind of a coffee snob now. So, but then again, taste is subjective. But with $80, the wife and I, we can go get some Korean beef, where they cook it right in front of you. You cook it there, and you can get some really, really good tasting. We get probably I think at one place we ended up getting like a kilo of meat or 1.5 kilos of meat, and it cooked, and you just stuffed to the gills, and it's just so good. Then you have the lettuce and little appetizers, all the different bowls and stuff. I mean, the table is filled full of food, and so by the time you leave a place like that, you're stuffed. And there's not even room for a latte after that. That's how much you eat, and it's so good. But you're talking half of what we paid for this. Yeah, it was just or 60,000 won, maybe 70,000 won. You can get an awesome meal depending on the restaurants you go to. But yeah, we just weren't impressed with the Thanksgiving meal stuff. And again, there's probably people out there who say, "Oh man, this is awesome," and it's like, well, cool. Good for them. They got their money's worth. We feel that we didn't, and not to our taste. Not that other people's tastes are bad. It's just it's just our preference. So we're probably not going to go next year. And yeah, but I did notice some other people were complaining about the food not being warm or hottish, warm-ish, or between warm and hot. But I think it's because everything was late. People late getting there to prepare the food. I think we got there just shortly after 10. And I think it was like 5 or 10 after 10. They still hadn't opened up yet. And it was about a quarter after, maybe 20 minutes after, somewhere around there. Then they opened up. So yeah, they were running late. And that probably had a lot to do with it. But then again, there was a lot of stuff there. Like I said, the turkey was good. The mashed potatoes were good. Salad, that's hard to screw up. If you didn't mind having, oily eggs, or they had scrambled eggs, but the scrambled eggs were okay. So that was good. And then the desserts were good and stuff like that. But yeah, was it worth $40 a person? I don't think so. In my opinion, in our opinion, it was we were a little disheartened, but we still had fun. Got us out of the house and stuff, and yeah, it is what it is. So, but for the people that are, that couldn't make it because of the weather, yeah, that could be dependent on. People that have families, so you got a husband, wife, 2 or 3 kids, and you start adding that up, that's an expensive meal. So if you've got 40, husband and wife, that's $80. And if you got 3 kids that are between the ages of 5 and 11, that's $20 per kid. So if you got two, so it's 80, 90, 100. So you're talking over 100, maybe $150. And we saw a couple big families there, and it's like, wow. Um, yeah, yeah, glad I don't have a big family anymore. So anyway, but that it is what it is. At least they have something that they can offer as an alternative to, the PX is closed. I think the commissary is closed and all those things. And food court on Thanksgiving, really, you're going to do the food court? I don't know. But then again, food court's got some good food. The Mongolian or the Mongolian Chinese wok thing, where I really like that because they give you a lot of chicken. But then again, that's a whole nother story. But yeah, it's an alternative, and it's something that obviously isn't every day, and it's a good time to get out, and especially if you don't want to cook. So maybe the price for that is worth it for some people, that they don't have to deal with making the turkey on their own. They don't have to deal with doing the desserts and doing this and that and the eggs and the salad and all of that. It's just go eat whatever you like, and then there's nothing to clean up. So maybe that's worth the price. But the difference between 2020 and 2024, just 4 years, it's about doubled in price. That's a little steep in my opinion. But then again, on the other side of the coin, you have inflation that has drawn and drove up some of those prices. The war in the Ukraine, which that comes into play. That seems to have a ripple effect on everything. So hopefully that will get taken care of soon. But yeah, I think that was our day. Yeah, well, it's not our day. It's 2:00 right now on Thanksgiving Day here in Korea. So it is what it is. So we're just going to chill out and relax. I'm going to finish the rest of my latte. And yeah, it was a good day. All in all, if that's the worst thing that happens today, I'm happy. So it is what it is. Still had some good food. The dessert thing was good. Yeah, chicken or turkey was good. Gravy, mashed potatoes, some other stuff. The salad was good. Yeah, that was it for us. I didn't see much pastries. I was a little disappointed because I wanted to do some pastries and try to do that with the coffee, but I didn't see anything really that was pastry-ish. So that's what we ended up doing. It was kind of fun. Then we got in our car, drove home, and yeah, roads are slushy and stuff. It's supposed to continue snowing tonight, and if the temperature dips down, it's going to be really interesting tomorrow. So we'll see how that goes. But anyway, that's what we got going on. We still had a good time. We had fun. We were able to laugh, and next year we'll go out and do something else. But if it snows like it did this year, we'll probably stay home. So maybe we'll take that $80 and we'll do some cool stuff. Or I don't know if you know this about Korea, you can pretty much get anything delivered to you. So, that's on the table as well. And that wouldn't even cost us $80. So there's that. Anyway, that's it. Like and subscribe to the channel. Really appreciate that. And we will see you on the next video. Peace. Yeah, peace.